In the spring of 1996, Susan Sarandon received the film industry's highest honor, clutching the Best Actress Oscar for her performance in Dead Man Walking. She had reached a level of validation few in Hollywood ever see. Yet outside of the ballrooms and red carpets, her physical reality looked very different. She was frequently found within grassroots movements, standing among the dense, sign-carrying crowds of the Occupy Wall Street protests. Conventionally, a leading actor protects their career by remaining politically neutral. The logic is simple. Avoid taking a polarizing stance to ensure you don't alienate half of your potential audience at the box office. Sarandon ignored that logic, operating along two separate timelines. On one track was her rising film career, and on the other, her political activism. While they began as parallel paths, they eventually began to curve toward one another. She didn't just survive the industry while holding radical views. She leveraged her A-list status to fund and protect her humanitarian work, using her platform to amplify causes often at odds with the establishment. Her rise in the 1970s moved from cult popularity in the Rocky Horror Picture Show to the front ranks of mainstream Hollywood. By the early 80s, she was establishing herself as a bankable star. But right as her fame reached a new level in 1983, she traveled to Nicaragua with a Madre activist delegation. She was willingly inserting herself into an international conflict zone at the same time studios were booking her for major roles. Her profile only continued to grow with hits like Bull Durham and Thelma and Louise. She was generating massive commercial returns and securing multiple Academy Award nominations, accumulating an immense reserve of Hollywood capital. This wasn't the endgame of her career, but the acquisition of leverage. With her profitability proven, she gained the power to influence which stories got told and which causes received a national spotlight. By the 1990s, her two paths converged. She began selecting roles that scrutinized American institutions, taking on the medical establishment in Lorenzo's Oil and the legal system in The Client. Her screen work and her activism became indistinguishable when she produced and starred in Dead Man Walking as Sister Helen Pergine. The film served as a direct extension of her real-world campaign against capital punishment, mirroring the efforts of the actual grassroots abolition movement. Even with its controversial subject matter, the project resonated within the industry. This specific performance is what finally won her the Academy Award for Best Actress. That Oscar win marked the point where her radical advocacy achieved the highest level of industry success. The boundary between her acting and her activism had effectively disappeared. With her legacy in film established, her humanitarian work took the lead. In 1999, she was appointed a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador, a role that focused on global advocacy for children. Her new platform moved her away from movie sets and into on-the-ground fieldwork in international crisis zones, supporting programs in nutrition, education, and health. Her status as a representative of these causes led her to the 2006 Winter Olympics in Italy, where she was chosen as one of 8 women to carry the Olympic flag during the opening ceremony. She also began operating as an executive producer, funding documentaries like Sofra, which focused on Palestinian refugees in Lebanon, and narrating The Celluloid Closet, a look at LGBTQ+ history in film. By becoming a producer, she could bypass traditional Hollywood gatekeepers and directly finance the marginalized stories and political causes she prioritized. Her politics often put her at odds with the mainstream Democratic establishment. She famously withheld support for party candidates to champion political outsiders, most notably Bernie Sanders in 2016. She also engaged in direct civil disobedience. In 2018, she was arrested at the U.S. Capitol during a sit-in protesting the government's migrant separation policies. Her recent activism has come with a high professional price. In 2023, following comments regarding the Gaza war, she was dropped as a client by United Talent Agency, one of the most powerful firms in the industry. Despite the industry blowback, she has not retreated. In 2025, she was found defending the free speech rights of detained activists and joining the steering committee for civilian aid flotillas. Following Sarandon's timeline to the present reveals a pattern where artistic legacy is defined by the risks taken to highlight the struggles of others. Her path demonstrates that a career in the spotlight can be used to direct that light exactly where the establishment would prefer it not to go.